So, oh, already out the gate with the autofocus. I'm going to be doing a review of a comic that came out last week, but I wasn't here to get it. Obviously, I was away. But hey, better no time than the present. And that is Nick Fury versus Fang Foom. This is part of the JMS one-shots I've been collecting. This is the third one, the other two being Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon, and then the other one was Volstagg and Captain America, which both have been, in my opinion, both books have been very, like, okay, they've been mid at best. That's really what it's come down to, is that both comics were really just pretty fucking mid. And I would, like, the reason why I keep doing this, it's like, you may be thinking, well, why do you keep doing this? Like, Multi, you can just stop. It's okay. You can just fucking not do this. You know, they're not interconnected one-shots. And I know, and I'm trying to read, I'm reading these, and so far, we've got, like, a few more. I think I, like, pre-ordered up to, the Ghost Rider versus Galactus one, because I was very curious about that one, and I think I also pre-ordered, Hulk and Doctor Strange, because I was like, well, I'm already in the thing for it, might as well go all the way, but I think the last one is Spider-Man versus the Marvel Universe. I don't know how I feel, I just kind of feel like I've been reading these and going, it's okay. And this is no different. But I will say this is the best I've had experiencing these JMS one-shots. Like, this has been the one that I've really, like, enjoyed the most. And it was one I was really excited for. The idea of Nick Fury, obviously, before, you know, his time in, you know, head of S.H.I.E.L.D. and whatnot, doing battle with Fang Foom, one of Stan Lee's earliest creations. I was like, yeah, that's a really cool idea, you know. So how did this comic play out? Well, the story is that it's set months before, like, I think, yeah, months before the U.S. is involved in World War II, like, obviously when Pearl Harbor goes on and whatnot. But what's going on is that during that time, Nick Fury has been working at an aerial stunt show and is approached by a friend of his to be like, hey, can you help on the war front in China, because we're dealing with this unknown threat. So Fury agrees for a large sum of money. Now, here's a bit of history. Basically, during World War II, essentially what had happened was, during World War II, there was the Japanese had invaded China, and the Japanese army had invaded China to, they were in the middle of fighting it for 4 years. And during that time, there was the Flying Tigers. For those who don't know who the Flying Tigers are, they were U.S. pilots who were given plausible deniability because they had retired from the Air Force to go fight for China and fight against the Japanese army. Because the U.S. hadn't been officially involved yet. So the U.S. was like, we're backing you, but we're not saying it out loud. So their whole thing was that they would have the P-40 Flying Tigers. Those were the famous World War II planes with the, monster faces on them. You've probably seen them in artwork or pictures in a book at one point or another in your life and not know what they were. So what's going on is that the P-40s are being taken down by an unknown threat. And I think you know where this is going, because that unknown threat turns out to be Fang Foom. Yeah. So I love whenever Fang Foom shows up in a comic. He's just this giant kaiju. He's just Marvel's first kaiju. Technically not, but, like, he's the one you best know for, like, in terms of, like, Marvel kaiju. He's this big alien dragon, and he's always fun to see when Marvel uses him. And that's what really got me, was to have Nick Fury doing battle, because this makes a lot of sense. Fury encountering something weird before his time with S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah, that happened every other Tuesday. So to have him do battle with Fang Foom is really cool. So, the comic itself is more about Nick Fury. Let's be real. It's been kind of the thing is that outside of the Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon one, that one had equal, like, terms of both characters, but if the Volstagg Captain America one felt more like a Volstagg book with Steve there just to prop him up. Here, it's more of a Nick Fury book than a Nick Fury and Foom book. So, I'm actually okay with that, because Foom is clearly the antagonist here. He's, you know, he is the threat that they have to overcome. So Fury also in this comic is also talking about not wanting to get into the war because he's already done at this point in the Howling Commandos books. At this time, he's kind of been on the war front, fighting the Nazis already, but he's just kind of like of the mindset of, I don't want to get too involved. And it's, you know, I don't want to get too wrapped up in this shit because it's, you know, it's not gonna end well. So his battle with Foom is pretty fun because he understands that, like, there's no, like, holy shit, what the fuck is that thing? Because, again, we haven't seen, like, the Human Torch or Submariner or Captain America yet. It's still, like, a Marvel universe that is still, like, kind of, like, there's a lot of secrets of, like, aliens and whatnot. But I love the fact it's very much like, from that moment with Dusk Till Dawn, where, Fury sees Foom, and he's just like, that's a fucking dragon. He's just like, that's a fucking dragon. No ifs, ands, or buts, like, what the fuck is going on? That can't be real. Nope, he's just like, holy shit, that's a fucking dragon. I gotta go fight it. And again, Fury, this is not like Fury with the Infinity Formula. He doesn't have any abilities to him. He's just forced to, like, fight this, like, 30-foot monster. And by fight, I mean run away. That's really all he does in the comic, is just kind of, like, run away no matter what. He just runs and shoots at it until, like, Dum Dum Dugan shows up with the others and they trap Foom and he falls asleep for X amount of years. But it's more about Fury in his, like, becoming the man we know him to be. That's really what it's more about. I just kind of wish there was more of, like, you know, this one shot was longer and we could have more of Fury v Foom. But we don't get that. Foom is really cool, and I do know that now we got news drop that for Godzilla vs. Avengers, part of the Godzilla vs. Marvel event, fuck was I gonna say? Yeah, Foom is gonna fight Godzilla. While we all thought it was gonna be in Hulk versus Godzilla, it's gonna Fang Foom and Godzilla are gonna throw down in Godzilla vs. Avengers. So that's really cool that we're getting some more Foom. All in all, if you like classic Nick Fury and love, like, some hard, like, this really does feel. I will give JMS this, is that it really does feel like classic, like something you would see in, like, like Marvel's time in like doing a timely book. That's what I really like, is that it really does feel like a classic, and I do stress, like, very classic World War II era Marvel comic. Like, you could have seen this in, like, Strange Tales or Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos. So I gotta give JMS, you know, props for that, of making it feel like a classic Marvel book. Because, honestly, if you can do that, that's good. But, again, we don't get a lot of, you know, we don't get a lot of Fury. You know, we don't get a lot of Foom, and it's more of a Nick Fury book. But here it's fine, because it's not like it's two heroes in here. It's hero versus villain, and Foom is the antagonist of this story. I'm also kind of hoping that, like, when we get to Ghost Rider versus Galactus, we get some equal footing there. But the next story, like I said, the next comic will be a 2-in-1. The first story is, like I said, Hulk and Doctor Strange, and then it's going to be a bonus story involving Aunt May and Agatha Harkness. So I'm curious to see how that will play out. The comics have just been okay. This has probably been the best one because it feels like a classic Marvel story. Like a story you would see in the 60s. So I appreciate it. But all in all, these JMS one-shots have just been kind of just I don't know what else to say. But you guys tell me in the comments below if you've been reading the if you read this comic. Comment below, let me know what you guys thought of it. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.